Police in Round Rock are investigating a body found in Brushy Creek. The Williams County Sheriff's Office is still trying to identify skeletal remains found yesterday along Brushy Creek Road.
Police found the body of a missing man earlier today along Brushy Creek near Redbud Lane and East Palm Valley Boulevard.
There's a bit of mystery surrounding some human bones found today at a construction site in Round Rock.
How a man died after his body was found in Brushy Creek in Round Rock this morning.
This is the land of the good water, what the native people called Taquachue, given the name by its prehistoric inhabitants. Some people call this area Williamson County, others call it Round Rock, but I call it home. I grew up here, with my childhood home backing up to the Brushy Creek. Growing up in the area, we knew about the rich history and the legends surrounding the town. But that didn't stop me and my friends from exploring the thick brush that backed up to our houses. We watched the wildlife emerge from the Brushy Creek. Turkeys, foxes, coyotes, and more possums and raccoons than I can count. We all had strange experiences in the Brushy Creek area, whether it was strange sounds coming from the creek, lights moving around in the darkness, or a sense of being watched by something you can't see. We knew there's something different here. Unfortunately, the community wouldn't learn about the strangeness until several years later, when the Brushy Creek started making headlines. Round Rock is a town just north of Austin, a town with a rich Western history. This place was a home for the famous Chisholm Trail that led cowboys and their cattle into the Midwest. It's also known as a final resting spot for one of the most notorious outlaws, Sam Bass.
Anglo settlers started coming about in the 1840s or so, and Round Rock itself was named in 1854, around there. My name is Blaine Conklin, and lived here in Round Rock for about 17 years. I was appointed to the Round Rock's Historic Preservation Commission in 2017. The railroad came through in about 1876, I believe. And so it's always been a small, sleepy town on the railroad. And in recent years, last 20 or 30 or 40 years, I should say, more industry has come, and it's become a burgeoning suburb of Austin here in Central Texas. But we know from sites just a few miles north in Florence, there's an archaeological site there that has evidence of human habitation here for going back 16,000 years. And so humans have been right here along the Brushy Creek and the Balcones Escarpment for thousands of years. It's a great place for shelter with the caves and the cliffs, and as well as food.
I wanted to learn as much as I could about this creek, in hopes of finding some answers. I wanted to know what people were seeing and why so many human remains, ancient and new, are discovered near the Brushy Creek, in a city that's regularly ranked safest cities in America. After looking online and finding no new information, I knew I'd have to get the answers somehow. Somehow on my own.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good.
How long have you been working out here?
Right here?
Yeah.
We did this like about 6 months ago.
6 months ago?
Yeah, but they just started paving right now.
They just started paving?
Yeah.
Is the neighborhood almost finished?
This one?
Yeah.
It should be done in a couple months.
Couple more?
That side, the top side is already finished. They're just finishing the houses and doing the last touches on this stuff. I'm guessing they're probably going to start building farms and houses over there.
How many houses are there?
How many houses?
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that.
More than 100?
Yeah, probably.
You think so?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. Are you from over here? From this area?
Nah.
No?
I live in Dale.
Oh, you live in Dale?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, shit. Now, have you heard about this this area here? Hairy Man Road? I know some people say it's kind of, creepy. I know some people say it's kind of creepy. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. Have you guys heard of anything while you're working over here?
Nah.
You ever heard anything like that?
You said something about seeing like something over there, like a shadow and stuff.
That guy right there?
Yeah. I mean,
Is he from over here?
he's from
From Austin? Let me see. Appreciate it. Thank you.
There's a bit of mystery surrounding some human bones found today at a construction site in Round Rock.
One thing we do know tonight, this is not a criminal investigation.
A construction site turned death investigation, at least initially.
He found a lower jaw, looked like human remains, and he contacted us.
But police quickly realized this was not what it seemed.
We took a look at the remains. They looked pretty old to us.
An anthropologist told them they were right.
He was fairly certain that they were Native American remains. We also just got a confirmation from a second anthropologist who also confirmed that they appear to be Native American remains.
The site where the bones were found is actually a popular spot for people searching for arrowheads. The question now is what happens to it.
I'm waiting for a little bit of direction from the anthropologists as to how to preserve the scene for them and or for a possible Native American burial site. We want to make sure we're not desecrating the site or desecrating any Indian affairs.
Not much information is known about the Tonkawa. But what we do know is they had their own beliefs and practices.
So the Tonkawa people lived in teepees. They lived here along the Balcones escarpments where there are creeks like Brushy Creek, where there's plenty of game and vegetation, there's shelter. They were known for having full body tattoos, and of course, other than the winter months, you didn't need a lot of clothes. They decorated themselves with tattoos. Every year they reenacted the legend of their beginnings. It was in the form of a wolf dance. They considered the wolf their ancestor, and so they vowed that they would never be farmers. They would only be hunters and gatherers, because that was like the wolf. And so being moved off of their native lands to reservations and then to Oklahoma, Indian Territory at the time, and being told that they had to farm, was very difficult for them. This was against their entire origin story.
The discovery of the ancient burial site seemed to be the genesis for the events to come. I approached several of my childhood friends and other people I knew that had experienced something strange. majority of the people that I reached out to did not want to talk about their experiences on camera. And that seemed to be the theme of this project. People know what's going on, but they either don't want to be ridiculed for telling their stories, or they didn't want to relive a memory that they've tried to forget. After reaching out to several people, I was able to convince an old friend to share some of his experiences. He is now a prominent member of a large church in the area and asked us not to show his face or give out his name. And out of respect, I agreed.
So I've been around rock pretty much my entire life. I remember fishing in Brushy Creek, riding my dirt bike along the banks, just hiking around, finding new places to explore. It was always fun as a kid, checking out the Brushy Creek. So my first experience with the Brushy Creek was when I was a kid. We would always play in our neighbor's backyard. He had a backyard with a sports court. And his backyard actually connected to a green belt next to the Brushy Creek. And so one day I was running late, and so I showed up late walking into his backyard, and I see all the kids running from his backyard. And they were saying that they had seen an old woman was watching them play when they were in his backyard. And they described it, saying she had gray hair and she looked like an old woman. In the middle of the brush where there's a green belt, it makes no sense. And why would she be out there in the evening when the sun's about to go down, all alone? It really made no sense. And so it kind of freaked all the kids out. And that was a story that kind of stuck around for a little while and freaked everybody out. And I believe they actually called the cops to search the area, but they didn't find anything.
Could it be the similar circumstances are just uniquely coincidental? Or could there be another explanation? A darker explanation.
Hey man, ¿trabajas aquí?
Nosotros ponemos las pipas de agua.
Ah, ok, es que...
Sí, para que metan la campanada aquí.
Ah, ok. Can I take some video? Can I take some video? ¿Puedo tomar video?
Pregunta él. Maybe.
Ask him. Can I take some video?
¿Por qué saquele película todo?
Okay. Dicen que este lugar es un poco embrujado o algo.
Aquí hay especies de muchos animales.
¿Muchos animales?
Allá arriba está un agujero.
Está embrujado aquí.
Donde salen lagartijas de otro color.
Aquí meses y meses no podía.
Allí salen lagartijas de otro color, animales. Ahí está un agujero así adentro, ahí arriba.
¿En serio?
Una caverna.
¿En serio?
Ahí se meten cuervos para adentro.
¿Me puedes enseñar?
Pues ya será hasta que acá, ahí le da para allá, ya ahí está apuntado un árbol.
Ok, voy a ver.
Yo no sé de que todo es, pero vamos a ir en la carrera.
Ah, ok, dígame. Ok, ok. Gracias.
There's something strange going on in the area. And I knew someone that had discovered the evidence. The evidence of occult and possibly satanic activity going on near the Brushy Creek. I knew this story was 100% truthful because he showed me the area, and I was able to see the evidence for myself.
Best friends would always come woods playing and just kind of exploring. You know, that's what we did as kids. So there's a lot of fun to do stuff like that. Very familiar with the area. We've built a lot of things back over here as well, you know, just being normal kids. So we'd always just travel through and see what we could discover, fish over in the river over here. And yeah.
Did you ever hear anything about any type of unusual activity back here or anything like that?
The unusual activity that we, I guess, heard about was like legends of people doing like witchcraft or satanic things with underneath the bridge that's right over here, sacrificing animals, writing witchcraft symbols and things like that underneath the bridge, on the walls, late night ritual, whatever you want to call it. Didn't actually ever get to see anything. We even tried to stake out a few times, but yeah, no luck. I was down here, you know, with friend Brian. We came down here and we were just, you know, walking along. We weren't looking for anything particular. And we came underneath the bridge. We found a decapitated deer, and it was just lying right next to where appeared to be a bonfire. You could see dried up blood in the dirt, and it looked like it had been down there for a few days maybe, and it was already starting to, you know, smell bad, obviously. So that was our first time we ever saw anything kind of crazy, and then we saw the, you know, the writings on the walls, and we asked around, and people were saying, oh yeah, they like sacrifice animals down there.
I remember, I think the first time you guys told me about the spot, we all came down here, and it wasn't, there was also the deer, but that other time there was a dog. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
time?
there was a dog. I don't know if it's something that just, you know, blocked out, but yeah, there was a dead dog down there as well, and, you know, it was after when we found the deer, so that kind of made me like, oh, maybe this is something that is, you know, true to what these people are saying for the urban myth of, you know, the sacrificing ritual that they have out there, you know.
How a man died after his body was found in Brushy Creek in Round Rock this morning. KXAN's Lauren Kravitz spoke with neighbors who say they're shaken up that a body was found just feet from their home.
Someone called 911 and said they saw a body in Brushy Creek.
Any death is suspicious in a creek.
In 2016, a man's body was found in the Brushy Creek, not far from the ancient burial grounds. His vehicle was discovered 5 miles away, parked at a local car wash. What possessed him to be in the Brushy Creek at that time? No apparent sign of struggle or trauma. What happened? In October of 2016, another body was found near a creek that intersects with the Brushy Creek. There was absolutely no news coverage of this discovery, and I was only able to find one article online. No name or identity was given, only that they believed the body to be that of a homeless person. Again, the sheriff's office claimed there was no trauma or signs of foul play. Less than 1 week later, a third body was found in the Brushy Creek area, near the town's most iconic monument, the Round Rock.
Police in Round Rock are investigating a body found in Brushy Creek.
The discovery shut down a busy road earlier this afternoon. KXAN's Lauren Kravitz is live near that scene with an update. Lauren?
Yeah, we're live here on Chisholm Trail Drive. That's just west of I-35. Police opened this road back up here about 40 minutes ago and cleared the scene. And the body that you're talking about, that was found just behind me down the road here in Brushy Creek. Police say they received a phone call around 1:30 this afternoon. Two walkers along Brushy Creek saw what they thought was either a mannequin or a body. Once crews got to the scene, they realized it was in fact a person in the water, an adult male. Investigators do not know the cause of death at this point, and it's too soon, they say, to say whether this is a suspicious death, but officers say this area is typically safe.
Not much information was given in the reports. Is it just some kind of coincidence that all three bodies were discovered near the Brushy Creek in less than a year?
The Williamson County Sheriff's Office is still trying to identify skeletal remains found yesterday along Brushy Creek Road near US 79 and Red Bud Lane.
The person who found the remains recorded the scene live on Facebook.
Williamson County has to wait for autopsy results to determine the cause of death, but at this point, Sheriff Chody says it does not appear to be a homicide.
The identity of the body was never released. No signs of trauma or foul play. Skeletal remains were discovered less than 100 yards from the area where we conducted our interview. I couldn't help but wonder if the people conducting these rituals had anything to do with the bodies being discovered in the area. I also wondered if these rituals were taking place in other sections of the Brushy Creek. A local writer had informed me about some unusual activity that had occurred several years back in the Sandbass Cemetery, the final resting place for many of the prominent figures in Williamson County.
There's a lot of history here, a lot of Civil War graves, a fair amount of Masonic tributes. This was always where I heard about things occurring, and I'd always come out the next day and you'd always see media and police out here. So when I first actually heard about the story, this had been smashed open. Newspaper that something had come out here, pushed a bunch of stones over. I think that might actually be evidence of one of the things getting pushed over. And this had been smashed. And if you look at this, man, the stones are fairly heavy or fairly set. And it still looks fairly messed up even from when I remember coming out here. And if you look way back there, a bunch of the fences had been pushed down. But occasionally you'd come out here after reading stories in the newspaper talking about vandalism, but any of the vandalism that occurred wasn't your typical sort of ruin, you know? It was always stones being pulled up or pushed over or crypts being smashed. I worked at a cemetery when I was 15 to 16 as night watch, so I'm familiar with the sort of desecration that occurs when people come out to mess with stuff in a cemetery. And I'd never seen anything like that. It required a fairly strong living force to do what it did out here.
Could the person responsible for the desecration be the same person involved in the rituals? Would a person be able to do all this damage alone? Or could it be something else? Something larger? Something hairy?
Is one huge footprint found along the Brushy Creek Trail Father's Day weekend. More evidence keeps popping up.
The history of the hairy man has been a story passed down for generations in Round Rock. The sightings date back to the mid to late 1800s, when settlers traveling in covered wagons would be scared off or chased away by a wild hairy man, often seen hiding in the trees. The first modern documented sighting we have was chronicled in a book by a local author, Rich Little Poor Boy. According to the account in the book, in 1965, a group of boys were hanging out during midnight, and they ditched one boy as a prank. The next day, the boy showed up at school claiming he was chased out of the area by a wild hairy man. And the story caught like wildfire among the community. And shortly after, the road was renamed Hairy Man Road by the local postmaster. There have been other sightings in the area. Modern sightings.
So I go out with my cousins every once in a while. We go out fishing back behind his property. There's a trail back there. And just one of the times we went out, it got a little freaky one night. We usually try to get back before the sun went down because we had to go through shrubs and bushes and down a creek, and have to find the trail back to get back to the back of his property. So one night we were out fishing and we stayed a little longer than we should have. The next thing you know, we're all gathered together pretty close to each other so we could find our way back, and we start hearing some loud noises in the shrubs, bushes. Not exactly sure what it was. In my mind, I was thinking it's a pig because we got a lot of pigs out here, you know. But it sounded big, and it was moving at a pace, you know. One step at a time, and it sounded like, you know, something big was out there. In my mind at that time, I thought it was a pig, you know, for sure. It's like we're in the creek, it's dark, pigs are coming out. Usually they run around in a group, unless it's a big boar or something. But there was no, you know, you could usually hear them breathing and kind of snorting a little bit, just sniffing around where they're at. And it freaked us all out. I think there was about 4 of us that night, and we were pretty freaked out. We didn't know what to do. Our lights were out. You know, we all stood still, like, no, stay still, you know. And it just got louder. It sounded like it was within 10 feet of us for sure, 100% within 10 feet. And we were so uncomfortable, and at that moment I picked something up and just threw it, or I had something in my hand, I just threw it towards it, and next thing you know, made a noise and it was gone. Never heard anything from it ever again. Rushed our way back, trying to get back, hopefully not, you know, meeting up with this, you know, whether it was a pig or some sort of creature. And afterwards, after that moment, I've actually heard things about, you know, maybe some possible Sasquatch or Bigfoot out in this area. And I was like, man, it clicked in my head when we were talking about it one day, that, hey, maybe that was a you know, situation I was in where this happened. I mean, this was years ago, but not too long that I can't remember. It's something that's always gonna, I think, be embedded in my head, you know.
Is there enough area in central Texas for a large undiscovered creature to survive in?
Whatever was coming out here was probably some sort of like undistinguished or undiscovered, you know, maybe close to ape type thing. I mean, all over North America, there are hundreds of sightings every year. There's so much of this country, even still to this day, that no human has ever set foot in. I mean, there are some really thick patches of wild, even in the state of Texas. As flat as it is, there's tons of forest. There's a lot of very just unkind land. And Texas is very diverse. I mean, it does have its hills, and it has a lot of swamps. I mean, in East Texas, in fact, there are quite a few reportings of skunk ape type creatures, which are best known for being in, the Everglades of Florida. But I would not be shocked if there was something out here that's, undiscovered. My wife is an anthropologist, and of all the weird, crazy things that people throw at her, ancient aliens to Bigfoot, she tends to think that the idea of some very rare, human relative trampling around is not too far-fetched. I mean, there's just consistent sightings, consistent evidence. You see these things all the time,
I've gone out walking around, Georgetown, Round Rock, and wooded areas, and around rivers, streams, and I've found fossils in Georgetown and stuff like that. And I feel like there's a lot of places I've been to that people haven't even touched, just from being in certain areas. Just going on my own adventures and seeing things. But I definitely think it's highly possible, especially how big Texas is.
See all these vultures? All going down that way, dude.
These boulders are insane. I've never seen boulders like these around.
The curtains of brush were so incredibly thick they blocked out the sun in certain areas. This place feels prehistoric, ancient. If there is something out here, it picked the perfect hiding spot.
How's it going? I'm in local, just like taking videos of stuff. I remember when this all used to be brush out here, yeah. I'm just still in the area. I've been here for years, and I remember when this was all just wilderness out here. How long have you been out here working on this stuff?
About a year.
About a year?
Okay. Yeah, they're fixing to take all of them out. All the woods fixing to be.
Oh, really? All that?
Houses too. We got some caves up there.
Are they still there? Do they seal them off? I know they sealed some off. And if I could take a look at that, that'd be awesome. Is there any way I might be able to take a look at that? Yeah. You guys are from over here? You're from Round Rock? I know they said this road is kind of haunted. Do you know anything about that?
Kind of what?
Kind of haunted.
You heard anything about Harry Man being haunted?
I don't doubt it. Not going to strong possibility.
Strong possibility based on what?
A lot of people dying on it.
Dying? What do you mean?
Somebody saw a dead Sasquatch.
People said that too. They've seen sightings of all types of stuff out here. Shadows and...
Harry Man road forever for as long as...
Well, I know they found like Native American bones and all types of weird stuff out there.
That's all over Central Florida. Everywhere.
Okay. What about you, Chris?
What's up?
You hear anything about anything being haunted out here?
Hell yeah, this whole fucking thing on a big ass barrel.
This whole thing?
The amount of undiscovered caves in central Texas is unknown, but the numbers could range from hundreds to thousands in Williamson County alone. The thick brush that covers the Brushy Creek hides caves from plain view and makes surveying the area by drone impossible. Wildlife can remain undetected here for long periods of time. Walking through the Brushy Creek area, even for a short distance, you're inevitably going to find some types of caves or crevices hiding in the brush. Some of the caverns are over 12 feet tall in some areas, and can go several hundred feet deep into the earth. The possibility of these extensive cavern systems in the area connecting somewhere deep underground is still in question, with new caves being discovered every year.
At 6, we now know part of a cave that collapsed in an Austin neighborhood runs underneath homes.
And those who live there will have to wait a few more days to find out if the rest of the cave is stable and safe. This is going on in the Brushy Creek neighborhood on Cambria Drive.
KXAN's Lauren Kravitz shows us what crews found inside the cave today.
Most of the massive hole has been boarded up, but through a small opening, 3 hydrogeologists descended upon something hard to describe. An amazing view of the cave beneath Cambria Drive.
It is fascinating. It's scary.
While filming some large caves near the Brushy Creek, an elderly couple approached, and we began speaking about the project I was working on. They were both aware of the strange history in the area, and also very intrigued. The woman mentioned a strange photo she had taken near the Hairy Man Road. The following photo was taken near the Hairy Man Road area of the Brushy Creek at dusk. The image shows the woman's husband walking down a steep slope, and behind him a strange green orb. The woman said she did not see what she's called the green thing until she got home. Amazingly, this is not the only time I heard about a bright green light during my investigation.
We saw what looked like a meteor just right beside our car for a little bit. Green light. The light was so green. Bright green light. Riding beside our car, and it just seemed to dissolve. And I've seen meteors before, but I've never seen one that luminescently bright green.
It seemed the more information I obtained, the more questions I had, and the less things started making sense. After exploring areas along the Brushy Creek, the evidence I found started to mount up. Animal remains near Sandbass Cemetery.
How long has this been out here?
It's still got some of its skin. Yeah.
I mean, but it looks fairly...
Fresh charcoal.
Well, that's what I was saying, dude. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Let's see.
and strange graffiti under an abandoned bridge all seem to show signs of strange activity going on in the area. The strange graffiti was about 12 feet tall. I contacted a friend that is a computer engineer in the area and informed him about my investigation. I asked if he could decipher whatever strange graffiti was meant to say. A few days later, he contacted me. Unfortunately, he was not able to decipher the code due to some strange characters that are embedded into the binary message. But he did say he was familiar with the strange reputation associated with the Brushy Creek, and informed me about 2 strange videos his brother had taken after discovering a strange structure while working his construction job. The following videos were taken not far from the Brushy Creek.
Me da miedo, hay gente. Es que estaba viendo una ruina aquí, pero es una caverna, pero me da miedo.
The video shows construction workers as they unearth a strange structure and a giant totem face protruding from a stone wall. They are visibly shaken and can be heard saying they're too scared to enter the structure. I attempted to get an interview with the workers in the videos, but after several attempts, it was clear they did not want to talk about finding the structure, and they definitely did not want to go back to that area. After realizing we were not going to be able to conduct an interview with any workers, I pleaded with them, at least give the location of the structure. They reluctantly gave me the area of the structure, and after several days of scouting and using GPS satellite images, I found the unexplained structure. It made no sense. We climbed down into the entrance of the structure to find a stone wall with a giant stone face and heavy steel door.
It's bigger than I thought. Fuck. It's not wood.
The door looks to be made of a very heavy steel and also very old, only locking from the outside. After a quick examination of the door, we found a maker and model number. A quick online search reveals the door was made before 1950, weighs 1,300 pounds, and capable of handling a nuclear blast. It must have taken a lot of effort to move and install a 1,300-pound door. If this was some type of bomb shelter, why would anyone install a door that only locks from the outside? The inside of the cavern was about 12 feet at the highest point. There were several openings in the ceiling and other areas of the cavern that seemed to continue on.
If I would have shown you the Hairy Man roads, the blue caves and stuff over there, those caves look like they were covered up from the inside, which is creepy, yeah.
I try to come up with a conventional reason on why this structure will be built out here, hidden in the brush, buried for who knows how many years. The theories of the bomb shelter, storm shelter, didn't make sense with the door locking only from the outside. The only thought that came to my mind was, this place was meant to keep someone or something locked away. When I started this project, I never realized how deep the strange history of the Brushy Creek could go. I had literally just gone down a deep dark hole in search of answers. I learned as much as I could about this strange place. Ultimately, I wasn't sure if I wanted to find the answers I was in search of. I didn't want to go any deeper down that dark hole and find something that doesn't want to be found. The Brushy Creek remains a mystery, and continues to give us more questions than answers. Whatever it is, lives here and has no plans on leaving.
The Sheriff's Department is now asking for your help to track down a missing teenager. Police say the 15-year-old was last seen near Brushy Creek Road wearing a green hoodie with a black backpack and a blue suitcase. Now, she was also carrying a Victorian doll with her. Police are now asking anyone with any information to call 911.